Are you thinking of upgrading your jade jewelry? Maybe your bangle doesn't really fit anymore and it's time to get a new one. If you don't know where to start when it comes to selling your personal jade pieces, you found the right video. Here's the thing about the secondhand jade market. Jade is hot. So while finding a buyer is not hard to do, there are a few things you need to be aware of before moving forward. Welcome to Jewels of the Trade, the channel focused on disseminating accurate information on jewelry and gemstones. If this video helps you, please take a moment to give it a like and subscribe, and answer this question in the comments. Are you interested in selling a piece of jade, and what is it that you're wanting to sell? Today we're talking about how to sell your jade. The most important thing to know when selling your jade is this: is it natural or treated? The value difference between natural and treated jadeite is huge. And the secondhand market for jade is pretty aware of this. So they're probably looking for natural jade. And if they are, they're gonna need proof that it's natural. We actually talk more about how treated jade is unscrupulously sold as natural in my video on jade bangle testing. Click here, or there, or there. Please watch the video. Natural jade refers to jadeite that has not been treated. Also called a jade, natural jade has not been treated via impregnation of polymer, resin, or wax, and it has not been dyed. This is important. Treated jade, or jade that has been impregnated with wax, resin, polymer, or dyed, does not have stable color. Treated jade is brittle, and treated jade has very little value. So, it's very important to know what you have. So how do you know if your jade is natural? First and foremost, does it have a gem report from a reputable company, such as GIA, AGL, or Mason K Jade? If you inherited the jade and you're not sure if the report is real, and yes, reports can be faked, you can call up the organization that wrote the report and ask them to cross-reference your report number with their records. Just beware, not all reports are created equal. So if it's not from a lab your local jeweler would recommend, it might not be legit. So for instance, this, not legit. Watch the video. If it has a legitimate report from GIA, AGL, Mason K Jade, or another reputable lab, excellent, you're ready to sell your jade. But what if it doesn't have a report? That's where your local jeweler comes in. Your local jeweler has had experience with this and will be able to tell you whether or not your jade needs to be tested. Roll the testing footage. This is jade testing, this is jade testing. What is this? If it's very noticeably treated, your local jeweler might be able to tell. But if it's jadeite that looks real, you'll need to determine if it's natural or treated via advanced gemological testing. Your local jeweler probably doesn't have this equipment in store. It's really expensive. But they can either send it in for you or advise you to send it in yourself to a lab such as GIA, AGL, or a company like Mason K Jade, where it can be tested for the presence of dye or polymer. If you take your jade to your local jeweler and it turns out that it's nephrite and not jadeite, don't fret. I love me some nephrite. My friends over at Jade West in Canada recommend GIA for lab testing of nephrite, and they also recommend a lab in North Vancouver called Branco Gems. So I'm including a link for that below. Be suspicious of white nephrite as it could be treated due to the high demand of white and mutton fat nephrite jade. Of course, if you'd like to speak to a nephrite jade expert, I always recommend Jade West. You can learn about them at jademine.com. Link below. Back to jadeite. If you're sending in your piece yourself to Mason K Jade to be tested, click the link in the description to fill out the form and submit photos of your piece. From there, Mason K Jade will be able to get in touch with you and help you with making the decision whether or not to send your piece in for testing. Mason K, unlike gemological laboratories, can offer an additional service of valuing once your piece has been tested and confirmed natural jadeite. So now that you have a report or gemological testing confirming that you have natural jadeite jade, you can work on finding a buyer. Each piece of jade is so individual that not every method of selling may work for your particular situation. Here are a few different options for selling your jade. Option number 1, sell it to Mason K if they want it. In fact, if you send it to Mason K for testing with the intention of selling it, they won't charge you the testing fee if it turns out to be both natural and an item that they want to purchase. They won't just buy any jade, it has to be natural and they have to want it. If it's not natural and they don't want it, they won't buy it. So keep that in mind. If you go to masonk.com and click on Sell Your Jade, all of the information that you need is there, and I'm also going to include a link below. Option number 2, talk to your local jeweler. If you have proof that your jade is natural, your jeweler might be interested in buying it. Again, they have to want it. But be warned, if you don't have a report stating that it's natural, your jeweler would not be wise to assume that it's natural. Therefore, they may only be able to give you scrap value for the piece. If that amount sounds fair to you, and it might be, especially if the jade is not natural, then go for it. Option number 3, online. You found this YouTube video, you must be kind of savvy. Selling to an individual through Facebook Marketplace will probably not get you retail value for the sale if it's natural jade, but it will get you more than scrap value. So you might consider weighing the pros and cons. If your jade has a report, it's going to be much easier to sell online, and you're much more likely to get a better value for it. Some websites are specifically designed for this type of thing, such as IDoNowIDon't.com, which I assume is legit, but I've never personally used it. Google it. And if you have an Etsy shop, or you have a friend who has an Etsy shop who you can offer a commission to, that's probably the safest way to sell your vintage or handmade piece of jade jewelry. And it might be your best option for making the most money off the sale. If you meet someone online and then deliver the jade in person, please be careful. Meet them at your local bank or jewelry store, somewhere that has security and cameras, in daylight, with a friend. Be safe. Stranger danger. So once you've determined what you have and how you want to sell it, it's time to determine your asking price. And that's the end of our video. Just kidding. I guess I'll talk about that. This is super tricky. Here is my honest professional advice. Ask your local jewelry store or Mason K Jade. If you can tell that it's an inexpensive piece that doesn't warrant an appraisal for resale or a report of value, maybe scroll through the Mason K website and compare your item to similar pieces on there. It's mkjjewelry.com, and we're including the link below. Just keep in mind, Mason K only sells natural jadeite jade, so it would be unethical to sell treated jade, fake jade, or nephrite jade based on these prices. I hope that's helpful. If you're selling your jade with the intention of upgrading, I hope you'll consider Mason K for your jade purchase. You can buy their product through your local jewelry store, or if no one in your area carries natural jade, you can buy directly through Mason K at mkjjewelry.com. Be sure to use JOTT, J-O-T-T, for your 10% discount. Thanks so much for joining me today, and happy selling. Be safe. And if you liked this video, check out these other videos where we test jade that we bought on the internet to see if it's actually real. The moral of these stories is that people lie, and a lot of jade out there is fake. That's why it's so important to shop with somebody that you trust. Bye guys.